We got hards on. We're going to the end.
English national anthem. God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King, send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King. Yes, indeed. And by King, we're talking, yes. Lewis Hamilton wins the Silverstone British Grand Prix. Oh my god. Oh my god. I didn't realize I actually needed this. Look at me, I'm itching. I'm literally I was jonesing for it and I got my fix. I got my fix. Injected directly straight into my veins and my bloodstream. My arteries and all other types of words for, stuff. I didn't realize how much I needed this until I got it. I remember after qualifying going, there's a good chance either Lando or Hamilton wins tomorrow, or Russell, and I felt like I'm a bigger chance for any of those three more than Verstappen. And in my mind, I thought, okay, it's very likely one of those three win. I'd be pretty happy if any of those three won. I guess I would take any of them winning. And then it wasn't until he actually won when I realized, why was you even really contemplating it? Like if like a little magical wizard came to me maybe yesterday and asked me, I maybe would have said, yeah, I'd like Lando, or like I wouldn't have been like, if I'll break your hand right now if you definitely just give me a Lewis win. And then you won it, and then I realized, oh my god, I should have been putting my house on this. Um, it just seemed so obvious, right? And we're gonna get all into it. And by the way, right, can I just say, this season, I think that's our sixth different race winner. I did predictions for race winners this season. I think I predicted maybe eight drivers I predicted, and so far I've got five out of the six right. I had Lewis in there, I had Lando in there, I had Max in there. I know, pretty genius. Saw that one coming. I had who else do I have actually? I've literally got it written down. I don't know why I'm trying to do a memory test. I had Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Hamilton, and Norris. All of those right so far. Didn't have George, and he's one isn't who is in there. And the other two drivers I have, Piastri. He arguably could have had a good shot of winning this race if things went his way, as did he. Could have had a good shot last race as well. So that there's a good chance that happens this season. And Daniel Ricciardo. You heard I said Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo. Look, you got to put some in there that are just some decisions you lead with your head, and others are when you pick Daniel Ricciardo. But you never know. You never know. I know that one's not coming true. But hey, let's talk about what did happen. Not Lando, nice. Sorry, Lando. So it was very set up for you to win. You very easily could have won, as you could have for many races this season, if you didn't in some kind of way mess up. And actually, though, I did see radios from Lando about the whole tyre thing, which suggests it was more of a team decision. So there isn't. I was probably going to go in on him a little bit more, but that I actually gave myself time to read some of that stuff. I think last weekend round, I quickly jumped into doing this and then saw like some interviews afterwards. So I gave it a little bit more room to breathe to see stuff come out like that, and that was actually useful. Free sectors. I know, I'm killing you here. Sometimes when the races are just this good, you're like, why do we even have to talk about qualifying? Qualifying's fun while you watch it, and as soon as the races happen, you just don't want to even have any kind of discourse around quali anymore. That's like long in the past. But sector one is rating my quali. Then we have the race rundown, then the soft, medium, hard awards. And the quali rating, I'm going to give it like an 8.5, I think. Why is that? Then I got to check. What happened? I was going to say big shock, big driver out in Q1. It's no longer a big shock. It's the big driver out in Q1, the big shock exit early is Sergio Perez, and it happens so often that now it's big shock. Sergio Perez makes it to Q2. That's the new way we need to look into it, because it's crazy. It's insane how bad he's doing. I just see 101 new ways of people giving me stats that all have the same sort of narrative that Perez is doing shit. It's like in the last 6 races, Hulkenberg has actually managed to score 3 times the amounts of points of Perez. Sargent technically has outqualified Albon like twice, and he's actually outqualified Perez like 7 times. Like just a bunch of stats, which are all just basically saying Perez is not doing great. You could do that in a lot less words. You could say Perez isn't doing great. He's only got out of Q3 this many times. But I said people are finding all new fun and creative ways to compare him to other drivers to show Perez is just he's not doing a great job. And all this talk about Daniel Ricciardo taking the seat. Honestly, anyone, I might throw my hat in the ring. Could I be doing much worse? He's scoring no points most of the time. He's sixth in the standings. He goes out again. He beaches it. And by the way, he beaches it on the outlap, which I don't look. I'm not massively like it was tricky conditions. Maybe it was actually harder, or it's more likely you're gonna actually lose it in the outlap because you're going slow and fast at times, and like maybe someone who actually knows the mechanics and like physics of driving and shit and is really into it will actually say, oh, actually, in these conditions, it's more likely you'd lose it in an outlap. To me, though, spinning on an outlap, that's like you got the stabilizer. You're in practice mode. This isn't even the real thing. That's like, that's easy to make fun of. And that's what I'm doing. He went out. It wasn't predictable. I felt like last week's was so predictable. It was like Verstappen's going to be on pole, Hamilton. I mean, then Norris will be second, and it'll be like he'll be the next closest, and I'll be like, it just felt very nothing really exciting happened. This we had the driver go out. We had a bit of a red flag. And it wasn't too long of a wait though. That's the worst when you got to watch quali and they have like a super long red flag just to watch like 3 minutes of action after the red flag gets resumed. What else happened in quali? Anything of interest? Well, things of interest, yeah, but anything else I need to mention? It was a British 1-2-3. Now, look, I've not got a Union Jack tattooed on my back. I don't have a flagpole in my back garden with a St. George's flag. I've not, voted Brexit, so I'm not like massively, yes, British 1-2-3. But it happened at Silverstone in the same week. England playing Switzerland, go through penalties. It's very English at the moment. We're doing a decent job, right? But the thing that actually, when Verstappen was like P4, which is that just sets things up so much fun for the race when you have the chaos sandwich that is one bun George Russell, the other bun Max Verstappen, with a Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris filling. That is just a great. That's just cinema as it is. And they had the trailer for that new Formula One film, which people find a way to be negative about. Anything I don't know how's. I mean, most people are saying it looks sick, but if you go through replies of people being like, they'll find a way just to be, it looks sick, man. And by sick, I don't know the storyline at all, really. Just like, it's very much a teaser that obviously still filming the film at the moment, I think. But just the shots and stuff, like, I just really like, when you get those, like, sort of action camera POV style shots. They have some in the Batman. It's turning into a bit of a movie thing right now. They have some in the Batman, in the Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman when he's flying with the sort of squirrel wingsuit thing. They've got some great sort of shot styles like that. Obviously in Top Gun Maverick, they got great, shots of all the cameras on the planes, and looks like they're going for it. It's filmed by the same people, actually. I'll leave my letterbox count down below. Anyway, I'm not doing that. Back to this, which is equally as sort of irrelevant, but I want to talk about it. Alex Albon, he wasn't in some graphics promoting the British Grand Prix, and for some reason that was a talking point once again. I remember this being a talking point last year, and it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Last year, they have Alex Albon in the graphics, right, for Silverstone. Alex Albon, the whole thing here. Obviously born here, grew up here, I'm pretty sure, but he races under the Thai flag, right? That's your background. Last year, it's 4 drivers. It's Lando, it's George, it's Lewis, it's Alex. Those are the ones. British Grand Prix, those 4 drivers, right? Bunch of people being like, "Wow, why are you trying to claim Albon? The British are coming. The British are coming." It's all of this again. It's, oh, now you want to claim Albon because he's doing well. Now you want to have sort of ownership of Albon, all this stuff, right? This year round, it's okay. He comes out. He's like, yeah, obviously England, all that. Yeah, woohoo, God save the Queen or whatever, right? But it's like, you know what? I really appreciate my Thai heritage and stuff, and I drove around that flag, and I'm very proud of it, right? That's his whole thing. This year round, it's like, okay, then, yep, that's his choice. That's cool, whatever. The graphics will be put out, which should mean almost nothing. We won't have Alex in, and now it's like, wow, what is this Alex Albon erasure? It's like, oh, we're just gonna pretend like this never happened then. We're just going to pretend like he wasn't actually born here and he's not actually from here. Alex isn't any less British. Or that one with the Belgian mother. And that definitely isn't an English accent Lando's got, alright? And that little mixed one there, and now all of a sudden he's not any less British than any of them. And it's like, why do people care so much that Alex Albon isn't joining Lando Norris in a fucking graphic where they're holding Union Jack teapots? If anything, I'd be happy not to be a part of that. They looked, so who cares? The graphics for the races aren't official documents stating who and who isn't legally passport wise from countries. It's, you drive under the British flag, okay, we'll put you drive on Thailand, that's cool, yeah. It's an issue either way. And that's why it's crazy to me, because people complained about it last year for the opposite thing. Whatever, I'm genuinely getting hot just talking about it. So we're going to move on into the race where we should be talking. And it was great. It was brilliant. And when I think about it, why is Silverstone not my favourite track? I always say Austria. Spa's good. A lot of people say Spa. Why not England? Is it because it's just too close and you don't want to pick that one because it just feels like you're just picking it because you're from England and that or whatever? But it's like, Silverstone is always great and it's always iconic. Through goes Hamilton! And other stuff, probably. I've not been watching the sport that long. I've kind of just sort of exposed myself there. But like the when he gets the tyre puncture and he finishes the race on frayed tyres. Through goes Hamilton was last year. Lando defending against was that the same race, the Frugos Hamilton one, when Lando's defending? It might be. Sainz won on Silverstone. I remember that being a good race. They're just usually good races, and like it feels like iconic shit, as Kim Kardashian would say, happens at Silverstone. It kind of just has that factor about it. You get good sort of changing weather happen this year, and the weather was good because it wasn't like, oh, it's going to start sunny and then it's just going to be a downpour of rain, torrential rain that's going to come out of nowhere and then that's going to be the way to the end. It's like, no, it's going to kind of be this sort of half in, half out. Is this slicks? Is this intermediates? Where's the crossover point? Even when you're on the slicks, it might be difficult. When you're on the inters, it might be a little bit too dry even to the... It's like, it was just a perfect kind of like mixed match of a race in terms of all those things. It always provides good races. It feels like a lot of purpose-built tracks. Sometimes they're a little bit boring and they kind of just seem like they're here for historic reasons. And it feels like you get a lot more of the excitement, usually 9 times out of 10, from like the street circuits. But I feel like Silverstone is one that just does consistently deliver. And it did again today. It did again today. And I never had any doubt this wouldn't be a good race. So there's that. The weather was changing. It was great. You have like Karun's, like not even his current neighbors, seemingly his old neighbors giving updates on the weather, and more constant, right, and more accurate updates, and seemingly my own, weather app, actual weathermen, just sort of like some random people who used to live next to, living in like Brackley or something, Winnersh, to me, made up places that I've heard David Brent say in The Office, right? Living out there, just seemingly just putting their hand out the window and then WhatsApping Haroon and it all being 100% accurate. So that was going on. And yeah, just on Leclerc and Perez real quick, because I know it's like at this point it's not even like news to talk about Perez, but just like I get the not qualifying great and that being something, but I feel like there was a period of time where he wouldn't qualify great, but then it would be like, oh, Perez, wow, he's got the elbows out and this and that, and he driver of the day, he gained so many positions. Kind of feel like last year he'd qualify bad, but then he would make himself look good because he would, drive through the whole grid. And I know that car isn't what it is last year. I mean, Verstappen finished P2, right? And he was gaining. And I know it was because of tyres, but like he was gaining. He could have won that race for a few more laps. Like Perez, the car's not as quick as last year. Not an excuse not to be, ahead of the Williams and the Hasses and the sister team. And that's not because he drives badly, but it feels like every time he qualifies at the back, the whole strategy just kind of becomes, we're just going to do crazy wild punches, just hope one of them hits. So we're going to like hit extra early, or we're going to start on hards or try or one stop, or we're going to like wait for a safety car that will never come. We're going to try this crazy outlandish stuff just because we're back here anyway, so we got nothing to lose. And it's like, no, you literally got points to lose. You could just play it safe, do what everyone else is doing, do the simple strategy, because you've got great strategy. Red Bull's strategy is insane. Like, we give Verstappen credit, he can get the most out of the car, even the car isn't the best car on the grid, and he can still extract the most. He finished second today from P4. He actually extended his gap, which is crazy. With all the other storylines happening, we come out of this race going, this is a great season, when in reality, Verstappen has still extended his gap. But even outside of Verstappen, the team that is Red Bull, the consistency of just the pit stops and the strategy is always exactly right. The tyres and everything that puts him in the position where he can be Max Verstappen. It's just like, it's not just we have the best driver and he just does the best things, he can get the most out. It's like everything around him is just perfect. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying more credit needs to be given to that side of things. Because the other teams can't do that. Not a single one of them. And not a single one can do it as consistently, right? So when you have a team who can make decisions that good, if you just drove with those safer tactics, whatever the word is, that Verstappen's doing, you'd probably go through the field, as you should in the quicker car, and you would at least get some points. Instead of constantly qualifying so far back, and then just like Hail Mary punching, right, for some weird way that you think will get you on a podium, and then you finish so far out of the points. Where did he finish? He wasn't even in the top 15, I don't think. Where did Perez finish? Was he in the top 15? No, he wasn't. And like 2 cars didn't finish the race. So yeah, Leclerc did a similar thing. It's like, I can't remember what happened to Leclerc. I don't think he had a great quali, and then in the race, I can't remember what happened. It was like bad luck, or like in quali he couldn't put a lap time in. Bad luck. It's coming back to me. His car wouldn't start in the pit lane. He couldn't set a lap time. Something like that. Right. Starts far back, and then they bring him on to Inters too early because they're trying to, fuck it. We got nothing to lose. And it's like, you guys have got stuff to lose. You can just play the safe card and just slowly overtake and just do what everyone else is doing. I don't know why, just because people call it out opposition, the whole new thing is to just like do these Hail Mary shots and just hope that because you've got nothing to lose now. When it's like, it's a long race, just chug forward. That's what people used to do. They used to qualify at the back. It's like Hamilton qualifying in the back of Brazil in that like close season. P20 at the start of the sprint week, wins the Grand Prix, just slowly getting themselves, you know what I mean? Edge. Not like that, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm getting hot again. I need to calm down. I keep losing the small notes that I do have. Russell, God rest his soul. Where one Brit, if you chop down one tree, plant 3 more. Where one Brit died today, the Lewis Hamilton Rick tree sprouted. So Toto had to mention it for a fleeting second just because he remembered he has got 2 people he has to have emotions about. But in reality, it was like, we're all just happy about this thing. And it's like, I like Russell, and I would have been fine if he won. But also, I did find myself, as the second that Russell DNF'd, I went from sitting on the edge of my seat to firmly planting my ass right in the crevice. Like, I was deeply planted. You could have put soil under me. I would have, I was planted. I was comfortable. Like, I went from the edge, like, oh, there's still a chance. I was nervous, like, at the first stint. I was like, oh, Russell's going ahead. He's got a decent time and this and that. And I just thought, if a British driver wins this race, they're going to really hail it as being like, British driver wins, this and that. But, like, I'm just not really going to care, like, if it isn't Lewis or Lando. Like, that's kind of how I just felt, right? I just thought, as long as Russell's in it, and with these changing conditions, there's a chance that Russell still could come out and winning this. And it's not that I don't like Russell, but it's just that I really wanted Lewis to win, and that kind of want of Lewis to win only grew. Like it started off like, yeah, I want either Lewis or Lando to win, and then it kind of just became the Venn diagram or whatever it was, just became really like Lewis heavy. For wanted that, and just grew and grew and grew until the point of where I was just like, oh fuck it, if Lando has to, spin out into the gravel, or like if his car has to explode, or if like, if this has to happen, it just became a thing where I needed it. If he has to, defend so hard that he takes out Verstappen again, or whatever it was, if Piastri has to over, whatever, because that just became very obvious I needed that. So Russell kind of DNFing, I was just I went from me like, because it just kind of made my chances feel like they just really exploded. What else we got? Norris, in a way, loses another win, a race where he's going to feel like he should have won this one. And yeah, it's kind of impressive how many races kind of Lando goes into it kind of being like, he's got a great chance that he could really make it happen. Goes into the race, probably leads in sections, and then just for whatever reason, whether it's an outer issue, like a team mistake or a him mistake, doesn't matter. It's just crazy that it happens this much. And the fact that he's going to probably finish P2 this season in the standings, and it's just going to feel like a catalogue of errors that have led you to your best ever finish in the standings ever, and you're probably your highest points ever, and all these podiums, all this stuff, and it's just going to feel like the biggest failure of a season. Just because of all the times, because it's like we've had 3 different race winners in the last 3 races, right? I'm assuming it's been like Verstappen, Russell, and Hamilton now, and each one it feels like he's lost just to 3 different people each time, and you can't just lock into one or put it together. And this time around, it was going on to the softs and stuff, and I was initially going to be like, oh, that was his mistake. He was trying to be too much, like only thinking forwards. Oh, Hamilton's on softs, put me on softs then. But I actually did see the radios, and it was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to cover? Because they cut this in the thing. I don't know why. Like, it comes down to the interesting bit. It's like, so what do you want to do? You take the red pill. I can't remember which pill's which, but you take this pill, and you can go back to your normal life, and you can never know this ever happened. Or you take this pill, and you can go free in the Matrix. What you gonna do, Keanu Norris or whatever? And then just as the best answer, it just cuts. Join us next week. It's like, no, this is the part I want to hear. It's like, so they did all this. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna cover. You want to try and match Hamilton or Verstappen behind you. He says, I'm thinking ahead of me. And they're like, okay, so what time? And they don't tell us. But in the actual text, he said, yeah, I'm thinking about matching Hamilton, softs, but I'd be happy to go mediums either. I don't mind, whichever you think's best. And they said, okay, we're going to go softs. So it was more of a team issue. It wasn't like he fucked in that sense. Not that he definitely would have caught Hamilton on mediums, but good chance he could have stayed away from. It would have been close, because I think it was under 2 seconds, but a second and a half when they ended the race between Verstappen and Hamilton. But he could have, and if Norris was going to stay second, he would have been in the middle of that, so that he would have been in DRS Verstappen. But there was a good chance he could have, basically, on mediums, at least finish second. So that will keep him up at night. And he was reminded by it. He was reminded because his teammate was on mediums, doing amazing lap times as he's there dying on softs. And then when he's in the cool down room, and you're just feeling shit. You're like, oh, I've lost. It was the wrong tyre decision. I'm literally kneeled over, in anguish, whatever the right word is, while Hamilton's running around with a Union Jack. That should have been me. And you're sitting in the cool down room where you're meant to cool down, and then you got like the 2 goats sitting in there being like, just dad-splaining how you fucked up. Like, you don't know. They were literally like, ah, oh, damn. Yeah, so much deg for me on the softs. You was on softs as well, right? Shame you didn't have mediums. Yeah, if I had mediums, I definitely would have done the mediums. Oh, wait, you had mediums? Oh, wait, you had mediums. Why didn't you go in the mediums then, Lando? Oh, Lando, if I was Lando, I definitely would have run in the mediums. The mediums were definitely the right race type, but you didn't go on them. Oh, that's so weird. Why did? And he was just literally staring. He had a 50-yard stare. He looked like he wanted to swing in a moment, whilst also remembering he is currently the national treasure of the entire globe, and everyone loves him, and he's just won the race after like since 2021. Um, like I was watching The Boys, and one of the like politician guys is talking about something which is making the other woman, I don't remember any of their names, but it's like she's just like, oh my god, how do I leave this conversation? And then she like imagines herself, her head exploding because that's her power, and it's like this was like a similar scenario. Hamilton is just going in like, oh wait, you had the mediums. Why didn't you go on the mediums then? Oh, the mediums would have been quicker. I know. Just wanting to like die in that moment. But that's the brilliance of the cool down room and giving us the access with the cameras in there. This was an emotional race, and I actually felt a little bit emotional. Didn't cry. Too miserable for that, but I felt emotional. And I think it's because even for things I am really passionate about, really into, like I'm still getting into Formula One in a weird kind of way. But like even for those other things, I rarely really cry or feel any kind of enough emotion, happy or sad. But when I see other people react to something, like it feels like a funeral, I would probably like not like it's when you see other people crying and stuff. And for just something about like I expected the radios and stuff after to be happy and like everyone's shouting and stuff, but then hearing like Hamilton, his voice is all shaky and he gets out and he's hugging everyone. He's just like, oh, this was like bigger than I realized. Like, yeah, it is this final race with this team, and this team, as much as we meme and the things with Toto and the stuff like that, and going to Ferrari and like, yeah, he did win like everything that's made him the GOAT or whatever here and like with these people, and like, you know, this was his last chance to do that, and it's been so long, and he's talked about this self-doubt and stuff, and you don't really expect that from, you know, it's just like, damn. And I can't believe I Lando Norris was an option for me wanting to win this race after seeing this, you know. It's just like, it should have been a no-brainer. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm just happy it happened. I don't know if he'll ever get an 8th. He broke the record for most wins at a single track, so at least he's got another record under his belt as he further tries to become at least the statistical GOAT. But no, Jez Jensen Button said, we don't know what's going to happen. Let's just enjoy this because this is just neat. This is just cool for now anyway. Anything else? I guess we'll go to soft, medium, hard awards. Soft is Perez. I mean, I spoke about this last weekend. After all the chaos that happened last weekend at the front of the grid, the fact that all of that happened and then afterwards Perez was still like 30 seconds behind, duking it out with Hulkenberg in the Haas, it's just like, the guy, your teammate has went for a crash and a pit stop and a bad pit stop, and then he comes out, he's still ahead of you, and you're fighting with Hulkenberg, who, by the way, big props to Hulkenberg, P6 2 weeks in a row in the Haas. That's freaking crazy. But, you know, and then this weekend round, again, all this stuff's happening, all this chaos, and you still can't find your way even to 1 point. Even to anywhere near the top 10. It's like, there's only so much of this in the races I can put down to bad luck and just try and strike. It's just like, it's not, yeah. Jesus. Medium Norris. Ultimately, he finished where he started. He didn't actually do anything that wrong. He had a great race. It was great. And both McLarens were great in that sort of wet period where they just looked like they had some kind of cheat code in terms of that kind of grip they had in the wet. Didn't quite work out. They got to get these wrong because they're getting a lot of L's right now. But hey, take those L's and turn them into lessons. Take those losses and turn them into lessons, boys. You know, that's not cliche at all. But, you know, that's what you got to do. You win some, and I've said this more times, you learn from others. I'm sure that's definitely what he wanted to hear when he was singing that cool down room. That would have cheered him up. And hard is obviously Hamilton, Lewis Hardelton, Weepington, just crying. My name is Lewis Hamilton. There's a million things it's just great. By the way, he's pushing 40. Crazy. Insane, you know. I don't know how much blood he's extracted from George Russell to still be looking that young, but, you know, it's just great. He's up there. The celebrations were amazing. It was amazing. And it was just a great triple header of, what was it, Spain, Austria, and Silverstone really lived up to it. It was really good. I'm like the meme, like, Dad, what was it like when Hamilton won the 9th at Silverstone, and the guy crying, you know. Yeah. Next race is Hungary. On to Hungary. Don't know when it is. But we will be there. Trust me, we will be there. Hungary, hard zone. We got hard zone. We're going to the end. Thank you. Hamilton wins. Yes, he does.